So if you're a business leader looking to make more impact, looking to make more sales, and really getting people to show up on their A game, it all starts through this process of trust. And that's really what we're going to talk about today, because a lot of times what entrepreneurs do, I've seen this happen in my own life, but also through many of the hundreds of entrepreneurs that I help coach, is they jumped into the messaging, the posts that they're putting out, the videos, the reels, and all of those kind of things without having this one key principle and idea in the back of their mind. And that is like, how do I create trust with my community? How do I create trust with the people who are watching me, with the people who are most likely to take that next step with me? And that is literally what we're talking about here today. I want to ask you this. The last time you bought something, whether you bought a program, you bought something at the store, you bought something like, I don't know, you guys have this where Instagram like pops up stuff and then all of a sudden before you know it, you're like on the sales page. Like when you buy things, I really want you to think about like, why did you buy that thing? Why did you take that step? Why did you buy that course? Why did you invest into that coaching? Why did you take those actions? And I really want you to ask that question because trust is where it all starts. If you don't have trust that the person knows what they're talking about, if you don't have trust that they can actually help you with their program or product, or you see maybe like how they're talking about it just feels like a lack of trust, this is going to be the video for you, because we want to walk down this process on how you can develop trust, but do it in a quick manner, but also do it in an authentic manner, because I don't want you building trust in a way that makes you feel like you're not being yourself. As a matter of fact, building trust has a lot to do with you being yourself. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. Now, doing some research into this whole idea of know, like, and trust. There's this website called brandcraft.com, and they talked about 4 primary reasons why building trust is critical. Here's what they came up with. Number 1 is no trust equals no customers. If people don't trust you, if people don't like know you, right? They don't believe what you're saying, it's very unlikely that you're going to get anybody to actually purchase that piece. All right. So no trust equals no customers. Second piece is happy customers provide insight to your marketing strategy because they can share what they're really struggling with. So when you connect with somebody and they know, like, and trust you, and you can have a conversation about what they're struggling with, what their limiting beliefs are, what are things that they would love to be able to create in their life, you can have deeper conversations and they will literally tell you really how to sell them. But honestly, like, it's global listening. You'll be able to find out so many other solutions to problems because you have people who actually trust you. Have you ever had that where a potential customer or a client or somebody like is afraid and hesitant of sharing some stuff with you? Well, how can you help them if you actually don't get them to tell you what is actually going on? And building trust is such a critical part of that. Number 3 is it's the competitive edge. How many of you guys buy a program or a product just because like you're a previous customer and you're like, no, like I know there might be other stuff that's really good that's out there, but this thing, this person, this team, or this specific company, I know that I've like really connected with them on an entirely different level, that I'm willing to buy it and continue buying it and never even open my eyes to anything outside of that, because it really builds up that level of community. And the 4th thing is improved reputation. When you get people to know, like, and trust you, it improves your reputation. And when other people have good reputation and they share that with other people, it's incredible when it comes to like testimonials and results that you're getting. It literally will attract people to reach out to you. Like what happened this week, and somebody's like, hey, Mark, I know that you run this life coach certification, and somebody tagged you in a post, and what they explained there and how they were able to help people was transformational. Tell me a little bit about how this works. And it's not me having to go out and look for them. It's them coming here. And when you're able to improve your reputation, it really helps to speed up that know, like, and trust, because somebody else can give you the know, like, and trust just even through that mutual 3-way conversation. And that is the topic for today. How do we create this? Okay, Mark, you really built this up. It's super powerful. We're going to actually break this down into how many different sections we have here? 4 different sections. 4 different pieces to the puzzle that when you work them in synergy, and you're going to see some of these you crush, and maybe some of them you have a little bit of work to do, but this is an opportunity for us to find maybe where some of our holes are, where some of the gaps are, so we can lean in and build this know, like, and trust as quickly as possible. So guys, welcome to Modern Leadership, where we see things differently. We help entrepreneurs become modern leaders so they can excel and make a huge impact in the world not only in their personal life, but also in their business without having to ever sacrifice their family time or their health. Now, how we do that is shorter videos on Mondays and Thursdays and longer episodes on the weekend so we can really dive into things like this know, like, and trust and really answer your questions as we go. We also have this powerful thing called the Inner Circle. Danielle, welcome, welcome, welcome. Danielle's a part of the Inner Circle. So is Shelly. Aaron, what's going on? And of course, Kurt. Guys, it's a really powerful way of even getting some of the behind the scenes that we do here. So if you have not heard about that, definitely check it out. If you enjoy this video, don't do that before this. I want you to get some value out of this first. And then if that's the case, definitely hit us up. Click the join button underneath here and you'll see some of the different stuff that we have inside of the Inner Circle. But we need to dive into these 4 different, I'm going to call them steps. It says sections on my page here, but I like steps a little bit better than sections, okay? So let's dive right in. First off, Teresa, you haven't even said anything.
Excuse me.
I know. I've been like taking over the whole entire mic. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I hope you all are having an amazing Saturday. And I really like this topic. So let's jump into it.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start off with step number 1, section number 1. Okay. And this is the know factor. The know factor. KNOW factor. We talk about, you probably hear people talk about the know, like, and trust. We're diving into knowing you first, all right? This is like that first impression. It is the first time somebody sees you, they start to like know who you are. And how you set this up is critically important, all right? Now, the know thing is when people see, I like to always think about this too, when people see your picture come across their newsfeed, let's say they're scrolling and they see your profile picture, what do they think of you already? Like, what do they know about you? Like, what kind of flashes into their mind? I know for me, like I try to do this sometimes where I'm scrolling and I'll stop at somebody's picture and like based off of my past experiences with them, whether or not I know them, whether or not I trust them, I'm willing to like stop and read what they have to say versus just continuing to go because it's just another post that I'm going to fly by. Now, when it comes to know, I like to think of it this way. It's kind of like setting up your party before anybody else gets there. Here's what I mean. And this is how it can actually affect you on social media is when you go to somebody's or somebody sends you a message or you have something that pops across your newsfeed. I know for me personally, I go to their page and I want to see what they're about. This is that knowing, getting to know someone, right? What are their values? What do they like? What do they dislike? What do they talk about? Do I know them as a person? Or is it just all one-sided? Is it all just business? Is it all just this? And what I like to think of is like, it's like setting up a party. Like you wouldn't just say, okay, everybody party at my house. Let's, be here at whatever time, right? You would be like, okay, let me set this up. Let me get some balloons. Let me get a piñata. Let me get like the street taco guy. I don't know, like whatever's good. You have and it's like going to be the best party ever. And then you're like, okay, guys, come on over, right? And then people come over and they enjoy it. They like it. Some people hate it. They're like, this is the worst party ever, right? And that's good because you want people to equally, when they get to know you, feel repelled by you because it means you stand for something versus trying to be liked by everybody, which is something we're going to talk about a little bit later, all right? It's not that you want to be liked by everybody or known by everybody. It's you want to be able to show your values, who you are, and set up the place before you actually invite people to your party. Now, as you're going through social media, like setting that up means, are you sharing like different things that you really enjoy? Are you sharing things that are like really near and dear to your heart? If family is a key part of that, are there some things about family there? Are there some things about health and fitness as opposed to trying to just force one? You want people to really get to know the real you. What would be terrible is if somebody sees you on social media, they meet you in real life and they're like, I don't even know who you are. Like, because like when it comes to the way you show up on social media, it's totally different than the way that you show up in real life. Remember, we're not here to get everybody to know or to like or to trust us. We need to put out what really we are all about in order to do that because we want to be able to attract the people who connect with our message and repel the rest. You ever had somebody in your business, you're like, man, I really wish I hadn't actually taken this person on. I really wish I hadn't had this person as a client. That's one of those things where we're trying to force it and make it be for everyone, but this is a natural thing. So as you set up your party, then of course, when you start having conversations with people, if you're on social media, like people are going to come and see what you're all about. They're going to see what your posts are all about, see what your videos are all about, and see if they resonate with you or not. There's not a right or wrong answer here. It's whether or not you're being true and authentic, real you. People are going to naturally be attracted to you and some of them are going to be repelled. I'm not sure if you've seen this, but Modern Leadership has taken off with like a whole bunch of subscribers recently. And there's a whole bunch of extra haters too, because with a bunch of subscribers comes also a bunch of haters. And the haters are usually the ones that speak the loudest, right? But that's the thing. I want to repel them because I don't want them to be a part of the community and to drag everybody else down. But it's just a part of the territory. You have to be willing to get people to know you and like you and trust you and be willing to take the next step just as much as you have to be willing to repel people who are not a good fit for you. Now, of course, we're talking about social media pages, right? I want to kind of challenge you today to actually go back and take a look at what your pages look like, all right? Does it really show the real you? If you came to your page, would you know yourself? Or are there pieces that, I don't know, maybe you're a little nervous about like putting up? Or are there pieces that they're like, well, family is a really big value of mine, but all I have is like, I don't know, pictures of me working out. Like really asking yourself, like if I were to take an audit of my social media, do people know who I am by coming here? Yes, it would take them a little bit of time. I'm not saying that like people's going to instantly know you the first time that they go to your page. I'm saying you're setting yourself up by what you have on your page, the party, getting the party ready and making sure that when people come there, they know who the real you is. And then of course, when it comes to consistency, okay? Now, when we are being ourselves, it would be totally weird if somebody came to our page and we were like talking one day about one thing, and then we would do the polar opposite opinion on the other, right? I know sometimes like people try to be like, I don't know why they call it vanilla, but like just be the middle of the line to like not make any waves. But this is kind of what I was talking about earlier is when you don't stand for anything, you stand for nothing, right? And so nobody knows whether to get on your side or not. But when you're sure this is what I stand for and you put it out there like that, it will naturally attract people who also stand for that thing. Now, I'm not talking about like, oh, I should tell them about my politics or I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like what you stand for. What are your values? What are near and dear to your heart? Because if those are out there and somebody follows you and goes, man, this is a game changer. And here's a perfect example. So somebody reached out to me and they're like, Mark, like, first off, I've never heard a business coach talk so much about family connection and not losing connection at home and really like having a legendary connection with their family. Like that just doesn't happen. And I'm like, well, it happens because that's my values. That's what I truly value because I messed it up for such a long time. So I'm not going to just only be talking about business. There's a lot of just business people out there. And it's not that they're doing it wrong, but I feel like I need to inject a part of myself into that. So I will have different pieces and different buckets and talk about different things, connecting with your significant other, also your health, also your personal growth, also coaching, because it's a big part of leadership, right? And it's because that's the way that I am as a person. If you were to meet me in real life, this is really what I'm all about, which kind of repels people because they're like, no, Mark, I just want business. And that's cool. There's plenty of those. But for the people who are like, I want to excel at it all, when they come to our page, they're like, oh, hey, this is my stuff. And also I repel the other people, and it's okay because it's a mixture of both. And it's also, I feel like I'm living within my values, which is really, really incredible or important to me. Okay. And this is the no factor. So do yourself a solid this weekend. I want you to go back to wherever you have your store set up. It could be on social media. It could be in real life, whatever. When you get people there, do they know you? Can they actually like spend some time on your page and actually get to know the real you? It's so incredibly important for people to get to know you and what your values are, because like I said, if they think that you don't stand for anything, they won't stand behind you. They need to know some of those things. All right, Teresa, you're up.
All right. I love that explanation.
Oh, thanks.
Getting into a deep dive here on each one of these. So the next one is the like factor, right? And I'm not talking about everyone has to like you, right? This is really about relatability. And that is done through sharing your story and sharing your values to get people to want to be around you, right? And people will get a little bit weird about this because they feel like they have to be somebody else in order for people to like them. And that's not the case. Like, we still want you to be you. We still want you to be your authentic self. But there's a way to do that just around sharing, like what Mark was saying, like your values, who you're all about, what you want to accomplish, who do you want to serve, and that creates that likability. Now, don't try to be, like I said, don't try to be like everybody else because you think people are going to like you. You still work on yourself and you still share who you are, because really what it is you're gonna get people to say, you know what, I really connect with this person because they are truly living in their true identity, right? They're really showing who they are, no matter what other people say, because we're always going to have people who don't like us, and that's fine, right? But if you want to build this community, if you want to grow your business, then this is something that you need to kind of like sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. There's a lot of stuff going on here, guys. This is real life.
I
The
can hear
dog's
it.
doing something, the kids are being
They're
super
like
loud.
screaming, like having
So
a
yeah,
conversation right now.
it's throwing me off. But anyway, all right. So also, when we're talking about, like, let's say, you're going through that customer journey, right? You're getting people to know you, and then to then like you, right? It's not just about like getting people to join you, and then it's kind of like you just forget about this whole thing. Like, people have to still, like, you still have to treat people the same way you treat them when you want them to sign up. And if they become your customer, then that's another thing. Like, you keep continuing this on through your customer journey. And also, like, build that engagement, right? Build that engagement with the people, your people that you're trying to attract, right? And that's how you kind of keep that likability, because people can sense when it's not just about a transaction, right? People can sense that you really want to build this community of like-minded people. And you do that by asking for feedback, right? Because we're still growing as individuals as well. And we really want to know what people want from us. So asking for feedback is a great way for people for you to increase that likability, get people's opinions and foster kind of those conversations that will, get people to really connect with you.
I love that. I love it. I love it. I know a lot of the having conversations with people, that's such a critical part of the piece too, right? Because like, if you don't have conversations with them, it kind of feels like you're a little bit like closed-minded. You're not open to like their advice or even questions that they might have about what's going on. But like, when you foster those, when you're actually asking for that, like, hey, what do you think I could do better? What are some things that like you would love to see me like talk about more or teach more? And you're being open to like, I don't want to say criticism, but some form of like suggestions. There we go. It's going to help you continue to not only connect with that community, but also to connect with all the other people who are watching you, right? So just asking them some of those questions. I mean, we do this a lot, or I talk about this a lot, like on relationship-based calls. And it's like, well, I don't know, like, what I can do for my significant other to really connect with them. I'm like, well, why don't you ask them, right? When you feel most loved by me, what are some of the things I'm doing or saying that makes you feel that way? And we overcomplicate it, I think, sometimes as leaders, but like as coaches, thankfully we could step in and go, hey, what's a powerful question that I can ask to really help them get to see me? Like, maybe even having a conversation with your community. Maybe you're going to go in there, you're going to be like, these people don't even know who I am. Like, literally all I'm doing is posting about this, right? And then picking a few people out and going, hey, what are some things that you would like to learn about me? What are some things that you would like to know? What are some things that like maybe I'm going through that you think I should share with the world and really help them? And really asking those questions is going to speed up that like factor for sure. It's actually going to speed up all of these processes, all right? So we're going to go into section number 3. Section number 3 is the trust factor, right? So we got the know. This is like when you first pop across somebody's stuff, right? Or I mean, and now you're going to get to know them. Like, are you going, when you're going to their page, their website, their whatever, their blog, their YouTube channel, like, can you see from what you see on the page, like a little bit about them? Do you get to know them a little bit? For example, you go to Modern Leadership YouTube, you're going to see there's stuff about business, there's stuff about family, there's stuff about leading yourself, there's stuff about motivation, there's stuff about, so you're going to see and get a feel for what Teresa and I are all about. And then of course you get on a live call and you hear the banter back and forth between us, you know that what we're really about. And when you can see that, that gets you to start that know process. The second part is liking. And by liking, we don't mean, like Teresa said, trying to be like somebody else, trying to always be liked by everybody. No, it's putting your stand in the ground and saying, this is what I believe in. This is what I'm all about, getting feedback from people. asking people questions, like sharing that stuff, is going to get people to decide if they like you. This know, like, and trust is not a how do I do it so that everybody knows, like, and trust me. Like, you're on the wrong game. And you're definitely on the wrong team. It's like you have to be you and find the people, because I guarantee you, no matter who you are, there's people out there who are like you. And this gets us into the last one, which was trust. Think about trust as transparency. Okay. So I like to intermingle those things. And when I think about trust, I think about, like, are people knowing, like, maybe some of the things that I'm going through? Are people knowing that life isn't perfect? Are people knowing that Mark tends to turn on the dishwasher right before a live call, so it makes a whole bunch of noise in Teresa's, like, a microphone? Or the puppy is, like, wanting to go outside and he's peeing all over the place. Like, do people actually know that? And we do verbalize it when that stuff happens, because we do want people to know that. Because here's the thing. Do you trust people whose lives look perfect, who've never struggled with anything? Everything is beautiful and perfect, and the first time they try to run a business, everything works out, and they run $1 million businesses, and, like, everything they touch, they push the staple easy button. Or do you trust people more when you see them going through the stuff, they get through it, they overcome it, and it makes them stronger? I mean, so many of you guys have had conversations with you. Literally, you created a business because you struggled through some really hard, painful situations. And because you struggled through it and you found your way out on the other side, it makes you the perfect person to teach and train other people how to do that too. And it was because of you going through this. What would happen if people never knew that you went through it? And you were just like, oh, I read a whole bunch of books and I can talk to you about it, versus actually going through it. That's where, when I think about, like I said, trust, it really thinks about transparency. Like, am I communicating this in a way that makes it feel like I'm the real me, right? Everything is not perfect. Everything is not like, everything the way it's supposed to go. These videos are not scripted, word for word. And it's just a part of the whole entire puzzle. I mean, like we say, it's just one big giant science project. And the more we're willing to share some of that science project with other people, the more that we can get people to trust you. That being said, like, there are some other things you can speed up the trust. For example, what's going on, buddy? Sorry, my son just walked in. One of the ways we can do that is we can get testimonials or word from other people who've been in our programs, who've been a part of our products. Even if they haven't been there, but we've helped transform their lives, we can find testimonials or ask them questions to help them share what they've been able to succeed with and how they've been able to overcome the things that we've helped them overcome. Because when we have somebody who comes up to us and, or we see a post or something, and it's like this, like, I just want to let you know, like, what Teresa has been able to help me accomplish, this, and this. It's different than if Teresa makes a post like that, right? And when we're able to, like, foster that, ask for testimonials, get people to share stuff, it helps build the trust so much more exponential. So even if you don't have a program, getting on a coaching session, for example, and at the end saying, hey, like, how did we do? Like, how was this? Do you find this to be helpful? Like, would you be okay filming a quick testimonial about what it was like before and what is it like now after that you've had this session with me? And even having that and that person posting it, it's a game changer, because you're going to be able to build that trust. All right. And then, of course, there's other things you can do in terms of, like, let's say, for example, social proof. Another example is, like, getting certified, like, getting a certification by your name rises the level of trust, right? Getting certain skills that you've been able to develop rises that trust up, right? Having personal results yourself rises that trust up if you make sure that you communicate that, right? There's many different ways that we can go past this, but also, like, the number of people that you helped, who you've helped, and what you've helped them accomplish. Of course, coming from your mouth is okay, but from the other people's mouth is a game changer. So when I think about trust, I want you to also think about this. I want you to think about transparency. Like, do people really know who I am? Do they really know some of the struggles that I'm going through and the struggles that I went through and got through on the other side? Not because I'm, like, just going to air out my dirty laundry, but because I'm like, hey, like, this actually is something that I'm going through right now that's actually going to qualify me to even help more once I actually get through it. It's powerful when you follow somebody like that and you know that they're still working through some stuff, like they say, new level, new devil, because it's literally evidence that it's possible for them too. And that's why this trust factor is such a huge deal. So once again, taking a look at your stuff, right? Taking a look and doing an audit on yourself. Do people know me? Are people getting to like me? And are people, like, actually starting to trust me because of the way that my storefront, because of the way that I've been communicating on social media? Or am I like a one-stop shop? Am I just like one specific thing that I'm talking a little bit too much? And what can I do to spread this around to make it not just that one singular thing? All right, that was section number 3. Teresa, you're up.
All right. So I want to give you some practical tips on how you can implement this and start to build trust. Mark already went into like the first one is really just going to your storefront, going to see like your social media or anywhere where you share your story or your business and look at it. Ask yourself, do people know the real me? Right. Of course, like we said, you don't have to air everything out, right? But at least anything that relates to your business and who you are and what you want to share with the world, make sure that you can see what, if that's actually what you're showing, right? Are you showing your story and your values so people can decide if they like you or not, right? Like you want to put it out there, you want to be transparent. And like another question you can ask yourself, am I trying to be somewhere in the middle? Am I trying to not be like controversial? Am I trying to be like, if am I trying to be just kind of like, not make a lot of noise? And I mean, that's totally cool if you want to do that, right? But if you feel like that's not even your personality and you're not being authentic, then start to think about that. Like, am I being too much in the middle, right? Another question is like, what are some of the things that you've seen or heard from people that you trust, right? Like, how did they share their values? How do they share their story that has helped them build trust, right? If you see like that there's this person that is constantly getting referrals, right? Like, what did they do? How did they build that trust? And how can you implement that yourself? I actually just joined a community of coaches, and this kind of came out of the blue because there was a mentor of mine who kind of asked me to. You have to get in by application. And like, I don't know, I didn't know anything about this community or anything. However, the person who sent this to me and said, I think that this would be a great community for you, I was like, awesome. I'm sure it is because I trust that person, right? Because I've worked with them. They've showed me and they've helped me to really understand who they are and what their values are. And I'm like, well, I'm all for it. Like, I'm joining this community because I trust this person, which in turn, I trust the person who is actually providing that community because I know like my that mentor only surrounds themselves with people who are trustworthy and that really are going out there to help people.
I love that. I love it. I love it. I think the one thing that you hit on, like when it comes to the story, I think we like, I can't say that enough, right? Like your specific story, like people are going to connect with you and your story because of what you've gone through. If you go
Mhm.
to your page and you have nobody has any idea where you came from, what you went through, what your story is, you need to talk about it more often. Do you need to talk about it every single day? Absolutely not. But really, it's an important part of the process. Because here's the thing, if somebody's going through that specific thing that you've gone through, and they're like, wow, this person, like they really connect with me. For example, I'm a police sergeant for 20 years who made a switch and became a full-time life coach and like 3x my business income from when I used to actually have to be on the streets of Los Angeles. If I say that story and people know that, if somebody's a police officer wanting to get out of that, they're like, what did you do? How did you do that? And give me the steps, right? As opposed to somebody who's like, I help people leave their job and, jump into their business, which is great. There's a lot of people who do that. But when somebody can connect to your specific story and they're like, that is me, it just gives them so much more of that speed up of the know, like, and trust. So don't forget your story. Your story, even though it might seem boring or it might seem like you don't have anything to share or you don't do anything, there's somebody out there who feels that exact same way. They feel like their story is boring. They feel like they don't have anything to share. And when you connect with them on that level, it's going to be like, wow, maybe this is possible for me. Because most of the time, the people who have the incredible stories are saying them all the time, right? And it's like, it's attracting a certain people. But remember, it also repels another person, right? Somebody else who might have heard my story be like, no, I don't want any part of that, right? It's the same thing, not only just attracting, but also repelling people. And it's such an important piece that you have to make sure that you fully commit and plug into your story. You have to share your story because it's really going to help you speed up that process, but get people to know, like, and trust you. Now, we're going to open it up to some Q&A. By the way, Shannon, welcome to the Inner Circle. Shannon joined us inside of the Inner Circle. But when it comes to like questions that you guys have about this know, like, and trust factor, we want to see any questions that we can ask or answer for you here live. Okay, so type them into the chat, type them into the comments. Even if you're here watching this on the replay, definitely type them in and we'll be able to come back and help you out through this. Maybe even make you a short for it. But I want to end with one thing, and that is like this journey of know, like, and trust. Your goal is not to go viral. It's not to like have 1,000 like people like watch your reel and then just get 1,000 likes. Think about this, like how many people of those people actually will get to know, like, and trust you? It's more about creating the connections with the people that you currently have following you, more about like finding and taking the next step to expand to new people, but knowing that this is a process. I know I talked about like setting up your store, right? Setting up your storefront. So when people come, they know what you stand for. But also it takes a process of you continuing to stand by that. We talked about consistency, of you continuing to share your message and not wavering from that message, right? And by doing that, people will build more know, like, and trust over time. They're not going to see you the first time and instantly buy your stuff, even if they are starting to get to know you. It has to do with the amount of energy and effort that you're putting into it, but how consistent you are, and also how they feel in terms of like getting connected with you, right? That's why they say it takes 3 to 6 months before people form that level of know, like, and trust, and they're willing to take that next step. Some people less. Some people have taken 5 years, guys. They come around and they go, you know that life coaching thing you're talking about? I guess it kind of works because of what you have going on. Like, can we get on a call and like, get some help with that? Like, it's all within their own journey, right? But by doing these things, taking control of the things we can control, it will really help not only speed up the process, but give us the greatest opportunity for success. All right. That being said, do we have any questions about, as Teresa's not there on her seat, any questions about this process of know, like, and trust? Anything specific that you're either going through, anything you're struggling with, anything that you're like, man, I would really love to ask this question. I want to hit up the question for you right now. Oh, our puppy had to go outside and use the bathroom, and then Kurt had a power outage. Guys, this is real life right here. This is real life. You guys didn't even know that all this stuff is happening in the background. You think everything's perfect. I know a lot of people think that, but it's never the case, all right? All right, anybody have any questions? If not, I still want to hear in the comment section, what was your biggest takeaway from today? What would your heart voice tell you is an opportunity for you to lean into for this next week to really take this idea of know, like, and trust to the next level? I want to hear it. Now, while we're waiting for that, I also want to tell you that you might get to this point and you might be like, okay, that's great, Mark, but it sounds like I have to create a lot of content. It sounds like I have to put a lot of stuff out there. It sounds like it's going to take a lot of time and energy to do this. And I want to stop you in your tracks right now because it is absolutely not. There's this concept that me, Teresa, and Kurt put a training together called Repurposing Content. I'm going to leave you the link to watch that workshop, but basically it's a way for you to do, for example, like one video or one podcast and chop it up into so many different pieces that you can start spreading that around and get people to know, like, and trust you in a very small period of time. All right. Such a powerful tool to be able to use when you start to repurpose content. And even Joe said ChatGPT, also another great resource for you to lean into, right? But remember, we have to personalize what's in ChatGPT for us because it's going to have a conversation tone, but it's not going to necessarily have our story. So I always think about that too. Like when I use an AI tool, the one thing it doesn't know is my story, and that's the most important piece of all. So I try to take that content and figure out like, how do I share my story around this content that I'm being taught, right? Yes, Danielle. So Danielle said sharing her story more. I love that. Kurt, you back on now? All right, cool. So guys, really dive into, if you are somebody who's like, but I don't know if I have enough content. I don't know like how I'm going to be able to put all this stuff together. Dive into that replay. We'll leave it at the end. Also leave it inside of the description of like how to join the repurpose revolution, where you don't have to work more. You actually have to work less, but it's a matter of taking the things that you do have, chopping them up, injecting them into multiple different places so that you can speed up that know, like, and trust process. Okay, Teresa, I know you're had a bunch of stuff going on. You're like the juggler. This is why your podcast is called Organized Chaos. Anything else that kind of came to mind while you were getting the dog out to go to the bathroom?
No, I can't multitask like that.
All right, guys. We appreciate you so much for being here. We appreciate all of you Inner Circle members who joined today. That was pretty awesome. Love always having people, some behind the scenes views, some stuff inside of our free app that you get to be a part of when you join. Definitely hit up the membership portion of YouTube. It'll break down a little bit about how the Inner Circle works, all the great things that you get for like, what, $10 a month. And then if we can ever help in any specific way, please reach out and let us know. Aaron says, my biggest takeaway is I'm overcomplicating it, as always. Sharing my story is enough, and it should be done consistently. 100%, Aaron. Your story is powerful, and it's going to connect with the right person who's going to feel like, okay, Aaron is somebody who's gone through the specific thing that I'm going through, or he's currently going through, and she's the best person to actually step up and to help me get through that. So such a powerful story, Aaron. You got to share it, right? People don't know that. They got to actually hear it, right? So, and because you're on the team, I'm gonna push you to do that, okay? All right, guys, you guys have an incredible weekend, and we will see you guys next weekend, all right? All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.